So good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Coman from Paul's Photo. I want to welcome you to our Tuscany preview tonight. It's going to be my honor and pleasure to lead you on our amazing adventure to Italy, to the Tuscan hill towns, to these fabled, amazing locations. You know, we're going to get to walk the streets where Michelangelo walked and Leonardo da Vinci walked. And we're going to see where the Medicis lived and ruled. And we're going to walk where history just breathes and lives. And it's going to be just so fantastic. The first time I was in Tuscany was in 2019. My wife and I went and we scouted this trip. And we did the whole trip that we're going to do in 10 days in 4 days. Kind of a whirlwind. But it still rates as one of the top trips we've ever done as a couple. And we really loved the location. We fell in love with Florence. We fell in love with Siena, the little towns we're going to visit. We fell in love with Michelo and Massimo at San Fedele. We fell in love with the region around San Fedele and the monastery and the cooks and the people who worked there. And it was just such an awesome experience. And it's going to be my honor and pleasure to lead you on this trip. A couple things I want to talk about first is, so the flyer is up at creativephotoacademy.com. You can download the flyer if you want to see the pricing and how to register and all that. We are taking the deposits now. There is a hard limit on this trip because of the number of rooms available in the monastery at San Fedele. So if you're in, you're in. If you're not in, you're on the waiting list. A lot of people ask me where we can read more about where we're going and what we're going to do. And when I did the scouting trip, I used Rick Steves' Tuscany and Florence book, and it was awesome. I love Rick Steves. He and I travel very much the same. So the stuff that he likes, I like. The stuff he doesn't like, I don't like. Hold on a second, guys. Hold on. I've got to start another class. I'm sorry, I forgot about the landscape class. I'll be right back. Hold on. I'm sorry about that, guys. So I'm back. All right. So thanks. You guys like the old cameras behind me? Awesome. So I'm here and I'm going to help you guys get ready to go. And it's just going to be an awesome, good time. If you have any questions, type them into the chat. So Karen. Hey, Karen, can I ask you to read the chat for me? Karen, are you there? Oh, Karen. Karen? Right. So Karen, go ahead. Can you read the chat for me and pass that on? So Michelle, we do not have a lot of museums on the agenda because we have lots of free time scheduled. You will be getting a city pass in Florence as part of the trip. So you will have admission to all of the museums in Florence. So if you want to bypass the photography and go museum to museum to museum, you're welcome to do that. It's just going to be an awesome trip. Yes, there is. You can take a side trip. So you would either come in ahead of or behind the groups, Roger. I'm actually going to go in early, and my wife has never been to Rome. So we're going to go to Rome for 3 or 4 days ahead of the trip. So you come in early. We'll talk about that when we talk about travel. Are there any other questions, guys, before we get started? Trying to flip down the questions there. So I want to share. So here's, we talked about the Rick Steves book. I do have 2 other books here on my desk in Paul's photo. So a novel, The Hills of Tuscany. Anybody is welcome to borrow this one. I have not read this one. I have read this, and Karen has read The Agony and the Ecstasy. Awesome, amazing book. This is about Michelangelo and his trials and struggles in life. An amazing read. It certainly makes Tuscany and Florence and Rome come alive back at the beginning of the Renaissance. So those 2 books are available for loan. If anybody wants to stop by and borrow them, you're welcome. And you don't need to make an appointment. Just come. If I'm here and I'm in my office or Cheryl's in the office, they're sitting on my desk. You're welcome to just grab it and bring it back when you're done. So thank you very much for coming today. I just wanted to share a couple things with you. You get to see these pictures later on in the show, but I just love the prints. And to make these beautiful prints is so cool. So this is from the Michelangelo Gardens above Florence. Just a beautiful location. We'll certainly go there with the group. This is from the town just before we get to San Fedele on the teeny little road. And this is what it looks like in the middle of these Tuscan hill towns. It's just beautiful and amazing. So this is one morning I got up early and went out and photographed before the group. This is in the Duomo in Siena, and just so amazing. So I took my Nikon Z7 on this trip. I loved it because it's so small and light, and it was so wonderful in low light to get these amazing pictures, even inside the cathedrals where there's no flash allowed. This is again in the Duomo in Siena. It just, right there. Right, this is with the 14 to 30. I'm laying on the ground. I just can't tell you how amazing this trip is. And this is Massimo. He's one of the assistants at San Fedele, the monastery we've rented. And he's just a great guy, very helpful. He's a driver and helps with the luggage and helps with the meals and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, let me share my screen and we'll get started. If you guys have any questions, we'll take questions at the end, or write well, I can't see them in the chat. So Karen, if you see them, you're gonna have to get to me and tell me that there are questions. So, all right. Can you guys see the screen? Can you see the screen? Karen, are you there? Karen, can you see the screen there? I don't know. And you guys know that if you want, you can grab my picture in the corner and make me bigger or smaller. So hold on. Okay, yes, thank you, Heather. You know what, Heather? I'm going to promote you since I can't see Karen here. So Heather, promote to panelist. Heather, allow to talk. Heather, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay. Do you mind helping me out tonight?
Not at all.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Woohoo! So if there's questions, stop me. All right. I hate to put you to work, Heather, because I know that you Zoom all day long. So, but hopefully this will be fun. You can see the screen?
Yes.
All right. So welcome to our Tuscany photo adventure, June 1st to 11th in 2022. Like I said, so we'll meet on the 1st of June in Siena at the hotel, and we'll talk about the travel in a minute. It's very simple to get there. It's very simple to navigate. My wife and I actually rented a car and drove around. If you're adventuresome, that's a great way to go. I mean, you can ride the trains. We'll talk all about that. So fun. So welcome to Italy. Buongiorno, buonasera to everyone. It's going to be an amazing time. I don't speak much Italian. I know how to say good morning, good evening, thank you, please. Can I have another beer? One more wine. I'll take another one of that. Ooh, what is that? How many? How much? That's all the Italian I speak. And that's all you need to, because they all speak English. And even if you just give a little bit of effort in Italian, and the group will be with you. So there we'll always have, someone who's a fluent speaker with us. It's great. But exploring Italy, exploring these little towns is fantastic. And I don't know what you want as a trip, but we've built this so that you can make the trip into whatever you want. If you want to stay with me and the group the whole time, you're welcome to do that. If you want to go off and explore on your own and have a meal with just you and your wife or your husband, you can do that. If you want to go to the museums all day, you can do that. I'm going to find a great peace and balance in visiting these beautiful towns in the hills of Tuscany, and meeting the Italian people and seeing what it's like to live and how they live today and how they live like their parents and grandparents and great-great-parents and great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents lived in these teeny little towns in Italy. And we're going to capture some amazing photographs. We're going to go out of our way to make beautiful pictures because we're going to Italy. And what excites you about Italy? There's so many things in Italy to excite us. There's the wine and the food and the people and the history and the challenges of today. And all of that is exciting. But what excites you? And we're going to do that. We're going to get out there and make this happen. For many of us, it's the history. And in Florence certainly is steeped in history, and Siena is steeped in history. And when you read about the Middle Ages and the Medicis and Michelangelo and all those guys, Florence is the center of the world at that time. And we're going to be right downtown in Florence. And we're going to be walking at the city hall. This is the city hall in Florence. It's right there. In Florence, there's so much, so the food in Italy is amazing. A lot of people go to Italy just for the food. And I'll tell you, the 3 restaurants we're going to eat in Florence are some of the best meals I've ever had in my life. And they're all small family places. And, I got some recommendations. My wife and I went there. We went to these little places. We talked to the owners, and they said, sure, your group is welcome to come back. They're all Americans. Great. We love Americans. And that's where we're going to go have dinner when we're in Florence. And it's just going to be amazing. And I just can't wait to share it with you. Like I said, when we're in San Fedele, we're in the middle of the Chianti region. So all of the wine are classic, big, bold Chiantis. If you're a white wine drinker, that's fine. There's white wine for you, but you got to love the Chiantis. And they're just beautiful, and they're on the table, and it's all you can drink. And it's just something you just can't believe. So hopefully during the presentation, I'm going to answer for you the questions about the travel, the weather, the lodging, the food, the culture, the money. If we don't answer any of those, please type it into the chat, and Heather will stop me and ask me to expound on that. So remember, in Italy, they use the euro. So your credit cards work. You can bring euros. You're going to want to bring some cash with you, not a lot of cash, because most everything's going to be taken care of. Of course, if you want to go out and shopping and this and that and the other thing, you're going to need some money for that. So when we travel together with Creative Photo Academy, we try to make all the arrangements. Some of the meals which are not included in the price, we will make an arrangement. But if you want to go out and explore and just find a place, you're welcome to do that. And my wife and I did that all over Italy, and we never had a bad meal. We never had a bad meal. We never found anyone who was rude to us and treated us poorly, because we smiled and we were open and just, come on, bring us something to eat. We're hungry. And they do, and they treat you like family, and it's amazing. So the travel, so the easiest way to get to Florence, Firenze, is on Delta, LA to Paris, Paris to Florence. And that's pretty much direct flight. So you leave here in the middle of the afternoon, and it gets you to Paris early in the morning. And then an hour and a half or two later, you're into Florence about 10 o'clock in the morning. That is if the flight schedules return to normal. What I'm going to do, and what a couple of us are going to do, is we're going to fly to Rome, LA to Atlanta, Atlanta to Roma, and we'll spend 3 or 4 days in Rome, and then take the train from Rome to Florence. The airport is convenient to the hotel. And if a lot of us come in on the flight from Paris, the hotel will pick us up. If not, it's a very short cab ride or Uber from the airport to the hotel in downtown Florence. From the train station, it's walking distance from the train station to the hotel. And all you're going to do is you're just going to ask somebody at the train station, where is the hotel? They'll tell you. So you're welcome to extend before and after. So Roger, I know you asked about that. So please do it before or after. Don't just break off in the middle of the trip. There's plenty of ways to go. So at the end of the trip, we will be taken back by the bus from San Fedele to the airport in Florence. And we'll be there in time for the noon flight. So there's 2 flights out of Florence every day to Paris. And there's a 6 o'clock in the morning and then a 12:30. So we'll be there to make the noon flight. And that gets us to Paris about 1:30 or 2, and we'll catch a late afternoon flight from Paris back to the United States. And you can fly on Delta, Paris to Atlanta, or on Air France, you can fly Paris to LA. And that's what I'm going to do. I mean, if you've got other airlines, I know American and United both have partners that will get you there. Any questions, Heather, about the travel?
Sorry, hit the wrong button. No, there's no questions. But I was going to say you could extend your trip in Paris too, which if you haven't been over there, it is worth a couple days in Paris too.
Absolutely, and it doesn't cost any. Remember, guys, when you buy your ticket, now if you change your ticket, it costs. But if you buy your ticket with 2 days in Paris, there's no extra cost to that. So it's a pretty cool way to go. So there's plenty to see, plenty to do. And if you need help, if you need advice in Paris, Rick Steves has a great Paris book, but I can give you some tips in Paris. I love Paris. It's awesome. Can't wait. So what's on the schedule? 3 days in Florence, 6 days in San Fedele. So the 3 days in Florence, we have one hotel in Florence, downtown Florence, walking distance to wherever you want to go. So if you want to get up early, stay out late, you're welcome to do that. In San Fedele, we've rented the monastery. And the San Fedele Monastery is amazing. You'll see pictures in a minute. So 6 nights there, 6 days, with breakfast and dinner included every day. When we're out and about, if we're touring, we'll either pack a sack lunch or we'll be on our own for lunch in the town where we are. But we're going to get cultural experiences. You're going to meet Italians. You're going to try things. You're going see them stitching leather and cutting glass and all those things that you want to see. We're going to get to see history right in front of us, and we're going to make some amazing photos, and we're going to be together doing photography. San Fedele is an art center. It's an art retreat. And that's how we're going to treat it, as a photo retreat. We're going to do image reviews as we have the energy to do them and share our pictures. You'll see from San Fedele what it's like. So we're going the 1st of June. It's the end of spring. It hasn't warmed up yet. You'll see some clouds during the day. We may have a day or so with some light rain. Highs will be in the 70s, so mid 60s to mid 70s. It'll be chilly in the morning, 50s maybe, because we're at altitude. You may want a sweater for the afternoon, for the mornings and the evenings. But during the daytime, it's warm and nice. If you're short pants people, you can wear short pants. Just be aware that some of the churches, short skirts, sleeveless tops, and short pants for men are frowned upon a little bit in some of the churches. So we just have to moderate that, and we'll talk about that as we get a little bit closer to the trip. So the Hotel Michelangelo in Florence, right downtown. The Borgo San Fedele is the monastery. It's just, I can't speak enough about where we're staying and what we're doing. Any questions about the lodging, Heather?
No questions.
All right. So transportation in Firenze will be taxis and sprinter vans. So we'll have a sprinter van for some of the time, and others of the time when we're not really official together, we'll move about by taxis or by walking. My wife and I walked all the way across Florence. Florence is one of those cities where it's 20 minutes on a brisk walk all the way across the city. So it's not real far distances. But when we're on a tour, we'll have the sprinter van. In San Fedele, they have a fleet of sprinter vans that will take us, and that'll be 2 sprinter vans that'll take us out and about when we're doing our travels in San Fedele. So you don't need to worry about driving. So Florence is the capital of the Tuscan area in Italy. Long steeped in history. You guys all know about Florence and how it goes. So it's a Renaissance city. We're going to take a guided city tour with one of the Florence city guides. And I always like to do that when I come to a famous or a big city. So we get a lay of the land. So we get a feeling for Florence. So we'll get to see the high points. You'll have private time in Florence for shopping, for museums, for all of the things we don't hit as a group. And I can tell you, gang, I know friends of mine who've gone to Florence for a week and they still haven't seen or done it all. So being there for 3 days, we'll have plenty of time. We'll have time before we get together as a group, after we dismiss as a group to get out and do photography. If you guys want to get up early and climb the Michelangelo, we can do that. If we want to stay out late and go to the Ponte Vecchio, we can do that. It's all up to you as to what you guys want to do. So we're going to do photo shopping, museums in Florence. It's amazing. I can't wait to go back. When my wife and I went, we intentionally didn't go to any of the museums because we had a day and a half in Florence. So we really wanted to walk the churches, see the sights, get a feel for walking the city. It's a very walkable city. So this is outside. This is the original location for David, outside the city hall. And of course, David was moved. He's in the museum now, very covered. I did not get to see the real David last time because we didn't go to the museum. We're certainly going to want to do that. I certainly want to see David this time. But this is a replica right where he originally was standing when Michelangelo carved him in the 1400s. This is the main plaza at the, and hopefully I'm remembering right, if somebody will correct me. This is the Uffizi Gallery, the main art museum, the plaza. You walk right down, the city hall is right behind us. And this is full of artisans, and hawkers selling all kinds, but it's just a fun, exciting area to visit. This is in the main city square, right across from the city hall. Just a beautiful location, lots of tourists, lots of people there in front of the back of the city hall. So the back door of the city hall, I just love these kinds of places where you see the kids. This is an art class and they were doing their sketching there. The Duomo in Florence is beautiful. It's fantastic. It has the black and white marble facade and inside, similar to the Duomo in Siena, but just a completely different feel and look to these buildings. And, as an architecture photographer, you could spend your whole life photographing just the buildings in Florence and Siena because they're so remarkable. They're so amazing. So this is the river, and across the way to the Michelangelo Gardens, and you can see up here at the top, can you see the cursor? There's the people standing at the viewpoint. So you just walk up the hill and there's a beautiful viewpoint. You can take a cab up there if you want. It's very easy to get there. The Ponte Vecchio bridge, the famous bridge over the river, filled with shops and artisans. It's beautiful. You'll see a lot of pictures of this as we go through. So this is a boat. This lawn here has a bunch of, you're right down below where the camera is. There's a bunch of guys out sunbathing. It's the rowing club, the Florence Rowing Club. That's their area. And they were out there. It was a sunny afternoon, so they were drinking and catching the sun. It was just fun and exciting. And you walk around the bridge, you walk to the other side, change the light, change the feeling of what you see. So there's the scullers in the water. They're doing their rowing. Up to the top to the Michelangelo Gardens. You can see the City Hall and the Duomo here. And you'll see a picture earlier where I climb over here to get a great view. And you can climb in Siena too. If you don't mind stairs, you can climb to the top of all this stuff. It's just awesome fun. And your city pass will get you into all those things. So climbing the towers and this and that and the other thing, that's all included with the tour. So you can take a wide angle lens and make the portrait, the scene, or you can use a telephoto lens and come right in tight. So I don't bring a big camera kit on a trip like this. So it's my Think Tank Streetwalker Pro. It'll be the Nikon Z7 II with the 14-30, 24-70, and 70-200 lens. The Motorinis are everywhere. They're pervasive. We just happen to be on this street at 4:30. Everybody's getting home from work, going home from work. So photographing, just playing and having fun with the camera, both outside and inside, just amazing. And I can't stress enough how wonderful it is. Here we are at night. We're wandering the city at night. So my wife and I would go to dinner. And then one of the nights I went out by myself, and one of the nights she tagged along, and we just walked and had a wonderful time. And we ate gelato and had a coffee by the river, and it was just amazing fun. Even after dark, and just fantastic, beautiful. I can't wait to go there with you. I hope you all will join us. So this is one of the restaurants where we ate. This is the owner on the left and the chef on the right. And we had dinner, and I asked to speak to the owner, and he thought I was going to complain. And I just said it was such a wonderful meal. Can I bring my group back when we come back? And this was in 2019. So we were coming in 2020, and here we are. So 2 years later, we'll be able to go and have amazing food. Yeah.
Mark?
Yes, Heather?
Donna says she and her husband are getting in the spirit. They've opened a bottle of Chianti.
All right, Bill, let it breathe, baby. Don't go right to it. Come on, you got to let it breathe. I may do that when I get home tonight too, so.
And the gelato is a must.
Oh my God, yes, right, Heather?
Yes.
Stracciatella. All right, what is stracciatella? Somebody tell me.
Actually, no one's typing. I actually don't know what flavor that is or what it means.
Chocolate chip. Yes.
I'm really good at pointing.
You're right. You want the pink one, right? I want the strawberry.
Something like that.
Exactly.
You're making me. Can you make somebody homesick for a place they've just visited? But that's the way I'm feeling while looking at your pictures.
Oh my gosh,
I want to
yes.
go now.
So this is the chef owner of another of the restaurants we went to, and just amazing guys, and just, they pour their whole heart and soul into the food and into the restaurant, and it's just such an experience. And it's not fancy, guys. We're eating in the restaurants. We're going to eat in the restaurants where we're in neighborhood restaurants where the local people eat. And this was the kind of place where everybody knew everybody. Oh, and there's two Americans over there, right? So, and Cheryl and I had the greatest time. We never felt self-conscious about that. Everyone welcomed us. People came up and asked us where we're from. They heard us talking and they practiced their English on us. So 3 nights.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Heather.
Another quick question. Is there time for cooking classes while we're at the monastery?
Yes. So one of the afternoons, we're going to do a cooking class for those who don't want to go out on a photo excursion. So we'll do a cooking class at the monastery. Absolutely. Because cooking is one of the things they do there. They do teach cooking there. So we'll be going. So 3 nights in Siena. 3 nights in Florence, 6 nights in San Fedele, which is 20 minutes from Siena. It's right in the heart in Tuscany, in the hill towns, and we'll be going out to Volterra and San Gimignano and Montefolciano and Montepulciano and Montalcino. And that's what we're going to do every day. We're going to take a day trip every day. So this is San Fedele. So San Fedele is a monastery. It was built by an artistic monastic order. So they did paintings and scribery starting in the 10th century. And so art has always been part of its history. And it was a functioning monastery until after World War II. And then it just became a parish church for the locals. And finally, the church closed it in the 1970s. About 10 or 12 years ago, the current owner, and I forget his name, bought the property to restore it and turn it into an arts retreat center. And so you'll see the group I was with when we went, they had an art group and they had 2 extra rooms. They didn't sell all the rooms, so they let Cheryl and I come visit. And we were in with a bunch of painters for 2 nights. They were doing their painting workshop. We did our tours and our photography, and it was just great. And it's a wonderful place. It's not fancy, but it's so special. So special. So this is the old church, which happens to be the meeting room. This is the old abbey. So this is on the ground floor is the office, and there are rooms above. There are rooms to the right, and there are rooms to the back behind me. There are 15 rooms at San Fedele, so we can take 14 couples or 14 groups or 14 people to San Fedele with us, because my wife and I need a room. So that's the limit. There's 15 rooms. And so once we've sold the 15 rooms, we're done. So there's the group of artists, the painters, and I photographed them. They were great people. They were from all over the United States. But it was just fun to see them, and they were doing their painting. And, I got to join in some of their painting. Didn't take with me. I'm not a good painter, but I'm a photographer instead. And this is just the property at the monastery. There's plenty to photograph on the monastery grounds. If you like details and this Italian countryside look, in the main church, they were doing painting demonstrations, and that's where we'll do our image reviews. They have a projector and a screen, and we can do all that. They show movies at night if we want, so we can do there's all kinds of fun things we can do while we're here. This is outside the breakfast room. So where we have breakfast, there's a little pond there, and this is the hillside. And Siena is over this hill, right? It's 20 miles away, but it's right over here is where Siena is. You can't see it from there because there's bigger hills in the way. but that's where it is. This is what the rooms are. So remember, this was a monastery, so it's not camping, but it's not the Ritz either. The rooms are very Spartan, they're comfortable, the beds are comfortable, it's clean, it's beautiful. There's no air conditioning. I don't even remember if there's a television, but who cares? Because that's not what we're there for. We're there to be quiet, we're there to photograph, we're there to be together as a group. We take our meals together, breakfast and dinner together. It's an amazing location, just fantastic. So these are the chefs, and I just can't remember their names. In the dining room, you'll see there are frescoes from the 1200s and the 1300s in the dining room. And so we get locally sourced food. Everything we get is farm to table. The wine is Chianti from the region around us, and it's amazing. Absolutely phenomenal food. Very simple country cooking, but it's fresh and tasty and beautiful, and all you can eat served family style is just amazing. So this is dining room. In the dining room, you've got the frescoes above you on the wall while you're eating. They'll tell you the story about restoring and how they found the frescoes. So the whole place was painted powder blue. And they started cleaning when they restored and took back about 12 layers of paint and finally found the frescoes under 12 layers of paint and are restoring them. It's just amazing what you get to see there. And this is all just the history of the location. So here's the Chianti Classico and the rooster. So the black rooster denotes that this is a real Chianti. And so the first night, Sunday night, when we're at San Fedele, we're going to go to a restaurant. I'll show you in just a minute. And you can buy wine. You can buy wine anywhere. My wife and I sent home 3 or 4 cases of wine. We still have half a dozen bottles left to drink. And it's just amazing, just fantastic. So this is what the countryside looks like. Beautiful, lush, and then a house up on the hill, just all by itself. This is at the monastery. All this is on the monastery grounds, right? Things you can photograph, very simple forms we can make, we can practice and do, right? Early morning light, late afternoon light, we'll be out photographing. There's Massimo. What an awesome guy. I hope he's there with us next year. You don't know. I mean, look what happened to all of our friends. Many of them have scattered to the winds because they had no work, and they have had no work at the monastery for 2 years. So it's terrible. This is the forest right out the back. We went up, I walked up the hillside and to the old cemetery for this area, just out the back of the monastery, out the back road, out the gate and up the hill, and it's beautiful. And the view, there's Siena from far away, from a couple hills over. You can see. There, you saw this one before, from the town just before. So we're at the top of this hill. You drive down to the right through this little town, and like a mile or 2 down this road is where San Fedele is. Just out when you're driving, the hillsides are covered. Everything is all the fields are planted, wine and orchards and fields with vegetables and fruits, and it's just fantastic. So the Sunday night we'll go to Fattoria di Corsignano. Wonderful outside meal, freshly cooked. My buddy, when I went to Italy, told me, Mark, whatever you do, when you're in Tuscany, you have to have the boar stew. Well, the first night we were there, we went to this restaurant, and what did they serve us? They served us the boar stew, and it was phenomenal. So what it is, it's noodles with this red, almost like a pork Colorado style looking, but it's boar, and it has this beautiful, deep, rich wine taste, and it's phenomenal. We drank Chianti here until long into the evening and had a wonderful dessert, and then went back to San Fedele and talked about it, and got up the next day and went and photographed, right? So this is the wine in their wine cellar. They take you through the wine cellar. They show you how you make it. It's just phenomenal, right? And this little, teeny little winery restaurant is just phenomenal. And there's so many stories to tell. And it's making me hungry right now to go back. So Donna, do you got pasta going too? I gotta know. Because you got out the Chianti, but is the pasta going too? So on the 5 days that go ahead, Heather.
Sorry. Since you took the break there, I was gonna get in. So Donna says no pasta. Roger and Sandy said that Sandy was all in after you said about the cooking class.
Good, awesome. So,
but
5
then they
days
ask if the bathrooms. Sorry, did you hear that? If the bathrooms are private.
Yes, each room has a private bathroom.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so you're in suite. Yes.
And if it makes you feel any better, I'm having pasta for dinner.
No, it doesn't. It makes me feel worse, Heather. Come on. So on each of the 5 days, we'll take a day trip. Some of the trips will be all day. Some of them will be half a days. And on one of the half a days, we'll do the cooking class. Whether it's a morning or an afternoon, we just have to see how things, I still can't talk to Italy. They're on lockdown again right now. We just have confidence that in another year, we'll be good to go there. But away we go. So the day trips, Rada in Chianti, which is the next town over, this wonderful little hill town. La Certosa is another monastery, and you'll see that it's filled with beautiful art. We'll take the Creta Senese Drive, which is probably the most famous drive along the Tuscan hill towns. So then we'll take a day and go to San Gimignano and Volterra, and that's going to be a full day. So the San Gimignano and the Creta Senese day is a full day. The San Gimignano Volterra day is a full day, and the Siena day are full days. Those are 3 full days. The other 2 days are going to be the half days, and that's where we'll find the cooking class in there. But Rada in Chianti, this teeny little town, very tiny, very charming. It's one street, just amazing. And it's on top of a hill with ramparts all the way around. Just a beautiful little town where real people live and we can photograph their life. And this is the view from the park, which is outside the church in Rada. And you can see it's a 360-degree view around this town and just the hills and what it looks like, right? And everything is planted. And in June, it's going to be lush green. It's going to be not quite as green as Ireland, but that's the look. That's why we're going in June. The olive trees outside of Rada, beautiful ancient olive trees. And oh my gosh, we talked about the wine. We haven't talked about the olive oil. I don't know how many of you are in love with olive oil, but olive oil is just amazing. And just the feeling of what it's like to be there early in the morning, late in the afternoon. La Certosa is another monastery. It's a cloister run by the University of Siena, and it's made for study and contemplation and also for research. So it's a fairly large monastery, and you can go and walk. I would say we're probably going to be there 4 hours, and that won't be enough to explore all the little rooms and see all of the paintings and the frescoes and these little churches. And it's a powerful, powerful scene. And I can't wait to share it with you, to share these, late Renaissance period places and their beauty and their glory. And so what am I doing here? I'm laying on the floor. I'm actually laying on the floor with the 14 to 30 lens looking straight up. And when we were there, the art class was there, of course. They were painting and we were photographing. And that's what we're going to be doing. So that's the original fresco on the wall to the left from the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th century. the courtyards, and there's just so much to photograph here. So many scenes and views, so many ways to exercise our mind and our camera, so many stories to tell with our lenses. You know, I left all these color, you know, some of them for me are going to end up to be black and white, but it's just beautiful. And just what you see and how we capture it and what we do. So this is the cloister. So we walked out. So I've walked about a quarter mile down the road. There's the cloister here and all the buildings from their vineyards, the vineyards that are part of the estate. And once again, that same, the vineyards, right? It's just beautiful. So we're going to drive the Creta Senese. So this is probably a 40 or 50 mile drive through the hill towns. So the Hilltown Drive, Buono Convento, Santo de Quirico are all these little towns. But here is where we find the classic Tuscan hill landscape. And you'll see the images like from the cover of Rick Steves' book in these towns. And so these towns are wonderful. They have lots of history, but we're really getting through the towns to get out into the country. There's so much to see, and all these towns are wonderful, and they all have their own charm. But this is why we're on the Creta Senese, because these are the images and the views we'll get. We'll get these long driveways with the cypress trees. We'll get the broad vistas with the flowers in the foreground. And when we were there in 2019, the poppies were just coming in. So there was beautiful fields of red poppies, and you see the fields of mustards. Now, we're too early for the sunflowers. I know people ask about the sunflowers. Sunflowers are the end of summer. So we're going to be too early for that. You know, this is the ring of trees, the famous ring of trees. And you'll see just these views go on and on and on and on. And it's just so beautiful. And you just love to see it. You love to be there. And just to get out. You know, we'll take our time on this drive. We'll stop for lunch. We'll have some time. We'll photograph. We'll just have an amazing experience. Any questions, Heather?
So I guess you're so popular that Roger and Sandy just tried to sign up for the adventure couple, and it says that you're sold out. So
oh no,
you must have done a great job selling right at the beginning. Everybody just signed up immediately.
I don't know what's going on, Roger, but call and talk to Sam tomorrow. She'll get you taken care of.
And then I went ahead and put in the chat about the name of the town for the book Under the Tuscan Sun.
Oh, yes.
I Googled it.
So what town is that, Heather?
It's Cortano near Renzo.
Yep.
And then there's a part that's up at Lake Tresamine near Umbria.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's in the north. We're not going to be going that far north. So the day that I am really excited about, all the days are going to be fun, but to explore San Gimignano and Volterra, these are the classic hill towns. San Gimignano is the town of the towers. And it's just going to be so fun. We're going to get there. We're going to leave extra early in the morning because I want to get to this location so we can photograph in the early morning light. And it'll just be magic to be there so early. And if by getting there early, we'll be there before all the tourists, you know, because Italy doesn't really get going until afternoon. So if we're out before lunchtime, we'll have many of these places pretty much to ourselves. And this is San Gimignano. You can see the flags. All of these towns have their own flags. When in Siena, of course, the different neighborhoods have their own flags. But as you walk, you can see the feelings of the different neighborhoods. So this is Volterra, and Volterra is awesome. There's a beautiful Roman ruins there in Volterra. It's a theater. So this is backstage on the theater. And here you can see the amphitheater where people sat. And then they thought this was I believe this is a market. behind the theater. And during the Middle Ages, this was a trash dump. They threw their trash off the side of the hill, and it was just a mound of garbage, and they dug through it and found all the Roman ruins there. So this is Volterra. You can see the flags are different, and the feeling is different in a different town. So we'll have a great experience no matter where we go. We'll see amazing things. And, you know, like I said, my wife and I spent 20 minutes in Volterra because we just didn't have the time. But we're going to spend half a day. And we're going to get to walk the town street and have gelato and stop for a cafe and all those great things. So Siena, probably the highlight for many of us. You know, we all know Siena from the amazing race that they have there. God, it just went out of my head. Come on, somebody help me. The horse race. But this is Siena where we'll park. We'll park the bus and walk into town. This is the Duomo up on the hill to the left. Morning and afternoon, right? So this is morning. This is afternoon from the same spot. And this is the main square in Siena. And just a fantastic location. You know, Siena is filled with hills. You can get up and you can get these beautiful vistas down these narrow alleys and narrow streets. The Duomo is fantastic. Just such a powerful, powerful feeling that you get. And using your lens to capture just will be just something special. Yes. Climbing again. So there was a nice place that you could climb here and get a great view of the countryside and all of the roofs. Inside the cupola of the Duomo. Once again, with the 14 to 30 lens laying on my back, looking straight up.
You're getting a lot of responses on the race, so it's Palio.
The Palio, very good, thank you. We are not going for the Palio. The Palio is in July, and you have to make reservations months and months and months to see the Palio, so thank you. There's a great movie on the Palio, though, on Netflix. Be sure you watch it. So these are fantastic images. And this is inside the Duomo. There were these little ante rooms and small altars, and we just explored. You know, I carry my small camera bag. You can't bring a tripod inside, of course, so I didn't even carry it this day. And this is all handheld, 3200 ISO, f4, using the image stabilizer. Just so powerful. And the different the different neighborhoods in Siena with their different flags and the feeling of being there. I can't wait to go back. Any questions? And look at that, I'm right on time. Wow.
So what's the movie about Palio? I guess they're asking.
I don't remember the name of it, but if you do and it's Palio. Evelyn got it right. Yes, Brian got it right. The Palio, and actually nowadays they run the Palio twice a year, once in July and once I believe in September. I don't remember it. Just do a search, Emily, on the Palio, and you'll see there's a great movie about it, about the history of it, and people get run over and die, and it's just craziness. And they race right on the street. You know, they come in and they put dirt down in the old cobblestone, and they run around the town square. That's the race. So, yep. Any questions, guys? So somebody has Dick has his hand up. Yes, Dick, do you have a question? You have to type your question in, Dick.
So Emily said that she's looking forward to the long driveways with the cypress trees from above.
Yes. So the classic one, I found that classic driveway with the Z. It's on the flyer. This one, we'll go to that spot. But unfortunately, it's a one picture spot. That's the only picture there is there. And it's from this garden, and you got to go into the garden and you got to wind your way around through the garden, and there's an overlook, and you have to kind of stand on top of a bench over a trash can to get this picture. But it's a cool picture late in the afternoon. Any other questions, guys?
A question about the price. If my partner isn't a photographer, what does he pay? That's the question.
So the pricing is, there are two prices. So there is a single and there's a couple. So remember, Emily, we're selling rooms. So if there's going to be two of you in a room, it's $9.99. If there's going to be one of you in a room, it's $74.99. So your partner is going to eat and drink and ride on the bus, right? So we don't discriminate on the Creative Photo Academy Adventures between photographers and non-photographers. So we price it according to how we have to pay. And on this trip, we're paying by the room, not by the person. Any other questions? And remember, we have 14 rooms available for sale. There's probably half a dozen already pre-sold from the people who've moved over from the 2020 trip to the 2022 trip. So that leaves, 7 or 8 rooms available. And if Roger and Sandy just took one, boom, that means there's going to be 6 rooms available. So, other questions? If any of you have questions for me, call me tomorrow. I will be in all day. Hey, Barbara, I didn't see you here. Jim and Sharon just took a room. Awesome. That's great. Woohoo! I love it. Oh, the other question is, yes, Cheryl is going. So my lovely wife is joining us. She can't wait to go back. She is very excited about the desserts and the baked goods in Italy. So I will say that, so the bread is amazing. The pasta is amazing. The steak in Tuscany is amazing. Tuscany is the Texas of Italy. So yes. So what about the timing with the Africa trip? It's a month ahead of time. So Africa will be mid-July. So if you want to stay in Italy for a month and then move to Africa, you can do that. I'm going to come home. So, yep. And we'll have more details on Africa hopefully this week. Once again, Africa is not there. I can't talk to Africa, just like I can't talk to Italy. And when they're on lockdown, they're on lockdown. They're not even working. So. Yes, Evelyn, Jim and Sharon just signed up, they said. So sounds like you and John need to sign up now too. I would love to have the 4 of you guys. I don't know if my heart will take Jim and Sharon and John and Evelyn on the same trip, drinking wine in Tuscany, but I'm willing to risk it. That's right. That's right. Anybody else have questions for me? Dick, you got questions? Barbara, Donna, hey Donna, I know you guys are drinking wine. Jerry, Ira, do you have questions? Judy, you got questions? Anybody else? Michelle, Mike? So Mike, you and Maggie thinking about going? That would be great to have you guys go. You're all welcome. I know some of the people that I've traveled with before. I hate to pick them out, but we just love to have everybody join us. It's going to be so fun. If you have any questions, call me. Honestly, call me. I'll tell you honestly, yes, no. Thank you, Michelle. It's awesome. Yes. May 18th, we'll be doing the same thing for Africa. We'll do the Africa preview night. Hopefully we'll have everything locked down. You need to be in Tuscany, Bill, in Florence on the 1st of June. So that means you would leave, if you're flying from the United States, you'd leave on the 31st, and I don't know where you're flying from again, Bill. And then we'll be deposited back at the airport in Florence on the 11th of June. So you need to be in Florence, 10, 11, 12-ish, whatever the time the flight gets in on the 1st. So then they'll pick us up at the airport. We'll get to the hotel. We'll do our first afternoon in Florence on the 1st. And then on the morning of the 11th, we'll have breakfast in San Fedele on Saturday. And then they'll drive us to the airport. Yes, thank you. 3 days in Florence, 6 days in San Fedele. Thank you. So the 1st to the 11th. So you'll need your flight out on the 11th. You need to get in on the 1st. I'm going to arrive in Rome probably about the 28th of May, and then have 4 days in Rome. I'm going to dress like a gladiator. I'm going to, I'm going to go swim I'm going to walk the Spanish Steps and all that kind of stuff, right? I may go say hey to the Pope, Anybody else have questions? All right, guys, it's been a pleasure tonight. It's awesome to see you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Heather. I'll see you all, a lot of you guys on Friday night for the macro class, on Saturday for boot camp. And don't forget, tomorrow night, very special, Vincent Versace is talking about the new Nikon Studio software. It's free tomorrow night, 5 o'clock. You've got the invitations. You just need to register, or you can register at Eventbrite/Nikon Studio NX, and you can find it there. Thanks, everybody. Good night. I hope all of you can join us in Italy or on one of the other great adventures that we do. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, and we'll see you real soon.